Once upon a time, in a remote village in Nepal, there lived a young man named Samir. He was known for always remaining calm, even when faced with difficult emotional situations. The villagers were curious and asked him, "Samir, how do you stay so calm without being affected by any emotions?" With a gentle smile, Samir recounted the story and teachings that had guided him to achieve such incredible emotional balance. Once, as a child, Samir ventured deep into the forest surrounding his village. In the dense forest, he found a hidden cave. Inside the cave, there was an old monk meditating with his eyes closed. Samir decided to wait and watch the monk. Several hours passed. The monk finally opened his eyes and saw Samir. With great wisdom, the monk said, "Young man, you seem troubled by the storm of emotions raging within you." Samir nodded, eyes reflecting his unease. "Yes, Mr. Monk. I find it difficult to control my emotions, especially in difficult situations." The monk smiled gently and invited Samir to sit next to him. He began to share his wisdom, teaching Samir the art of emotional detachment and the path to inner peace. He introduced Samir to the practice of mindfulness. Samir learned to observe his thoughts and emotions without judgment, like clouds passing in the sky. Samir diligently practiced mindfulness every day in the shade of the Bodhi tree, focusing on his breathing and the sensations in his body. Slowly, he learned to detach himself from his emotions, realizing that they were temporary and not a true reflection of himself. Later, the old monk shared the importance of compassion. Samir understood that being emotionless does not mean being cold or unfeeling. Instead, it means responding to life's challenges with understanding and love. Samir began to develop compassion for himself and others. He helped fellow villagers with their problems, offering a compassionate ear and a helping hand. These acts of kindness brought him closer to the villagers, and his reputation as a compassionate and emotionless young man continued to grow. Years passed, and Samir grew into a wise and calm young man. He became a source of guidance for the villagers, helping them navigate the waves of their own emotions. He was often asked for advice, and his words were full of wisdom. One day, a great disaster struck the village, destroying houses and crops. The villagers were devastated, and their emotions were running high. They expected Samir to be shaken by the disaster, but he remained steadfast. He comforted them and helped rebuild their lives. He explained that although emotions are a natural part of human life, it is still possible to find inner peace by not clinging to them and by realizing their temporary nature. Samir's teachings spread beyond his village, reaching people in other places. His story became legend, and pilgrims came seeking his guidance. Samir, now an old man, continued to share his wisdom until the end of his life. In this ending, Samir shows that the path to becoming emotionless is not by suppressing feelings, but by understanding them and responding to them with peace. Samir's legacy reminds us all that in the heart of Nepal, the secret to emotional balance lies in awareness, compassion, and understanding that emotions are like clouds that will eventually dissipate. This story teaches us that the journey towards emotional balance and inner peace is not an end goal, but rather a lifelong journey. By understanding and embracing our emotions, we can find the balance we seek. The story also illustrates that emotional balance does not mean not feeling emotions, but rather how we respond to them wisely and compassionately. Samir, with his teachings, leaves a lasting legacy of the power of mindfulness, compassion, and self-understanding in achieving inner peace and emotional balance. So, are you one of those people who have difficulty controlling their emotions? Write in the comments column. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, because the next story will be much more interesting.